Hi, welcome. My name is Paul Smith, and I am the president of the Walpole Lions. The Walpole Lions is a local organization here in Walpole, Mass. That meets every third Wednesday of the month at Beacon's Restaurant. Our national mission is blindness, okay, and we also give back to the local charities and organizations here in the town around education, around our seniors, and anybody else in need that needs our help. We are a good group of 22 people, and we work hard. Today, I have the honor of introducing our this year's Youth Speech Contest winner, Nirjara Akkole. She is a Walpole High senior who's just graduated, and she won the Massachusetts Lions Speech Contest. The mission for the contest is basically to promote public speaking, civic engagement, and certainly leadership. It's a statewide competition that's held by the Lions Clubs of Massachusetts. There's nearly 250 local clubs throughout Massachusetts. There are about 500 to 600 students that participate every year. And there are 4 levels of competition. The first is the local. The local is at our club level, which is usually held in December, which Nirjara and I believe 6 others came to participate, where Nirjara obviously won. We then move on to a zone/regional, depending on, they may be separated, but again, separated, and they hold on January, where we go to other towns and go to the competition there. Then in February, the winner of that will move on to the district. The district, again, the level of competition has increased. That is held in February at the Dedham Hilton. This year we had it, where again Nirjara won. And the most exciting was where she goes and heads to the state finals. And that was held in April, May, where, again, that is against all districts. There are 5 districts here in Massachusetts. Speeches are judged by different entities. The first is timed. They have 5 to 8 minutes to deliver a speech, which we will soon hear from Nirjara about her speech. And then what happens is that it's the cue cards that they're able to bring. And the local contest, they are able to bring their full speech, where they can read it word for word. By the time they get to districts and states, they are now just allowed a cue card, 3.5 by 5 index card. There are certainly many judges out in the audience. The first is time. If they go over 8 or under 5, they will be penalized. There is an auditor which will absolutely have a full copy of their speech, and they will read word for word. So ad-libbing, missing sentences, again, they will be judged. And then there are 3 non-Lion members that absolutely act as judges for the overall performance. So, welcome, Nirjara Akkole.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Smith.
Yes, well, this is Mr. Smith, look at this. So, very respectful, but you can call me Paul today, please. Last year, you were the district's runner-up. So how did that feel that you came in as the runner-up last year?
So last year was my first year doing the contest, so everything was new to me. I was finding out what it was just a few weeks before I was competing, and I was just so grateful to have been able to even be the runner-up at that level and have that experience and meet all these new people. So this year it was like a completely different experience, but it felt so nice going back to it in the same way.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you something. From last year, right, getting to, like you said, it was your first year,
yes.
And to this year, was the approach different?
I would say that I kept what was important to me the same, but I switched up the content of my speech. So of course the topic is different every year,
Yes.
but last year I took a more personal approach to it. I talked about myself and my experiences, whereas this year I did still do that, but I also chose a topic that I was very passionate about and something that was applicable to society and kind of what's going on in the world right now. So I would say that I kind of switched it up, but I still kept what was important to me the same.
Which was an amazing amazing speech. Both years was
Thank you,
amazing.
thank
So we do have fierce competition in the local area, and I'm happy again that Walpole came out victorious this year. The theme this year was the best advice I ever received was. So I would like to ask Nirjara at this moment to deliver her speech before you live.
Ever since I was a little girl, I have always wanted to be a mother. Braiding my little girl's hair, planning superhero birthday parties for my son, and packing lunches on early school mornings. Yet, this dream came quickly crashing down as I learned the reality of childbirth. A woman braces herself, ready to push an 8-pound bowling ball out of her body. Her hands grip the bed rails like she's about to rip them off. Sweat is plastered to her head, and she's more exhausted than she has ever been before. One more push, her husband says. Just one more push. A phrase that we hear a little too often. A phrase that represents perseverance, strength, and hope. Yet, no matter how many times we push, the political landscape will remain as stubborn as a baby who's decided that it's not ready to come out yet. Stuck in place, refusing to move, leaving us all in utter exhaustion. This same phrase echoes far greater implications, even beyond the delivery room. For generations, women have been pushing, fighting against systemic inequity, breaking barriers and making history. But no matter how many times we push, the political system will remain at a standstill. The greatest piece of advice that I have ever received is to speak, even if your voice shakes. Because as Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren explains, female politicians are expected to work twice as hard for just half the recognition in politics. And that's a reality we must continue to challenge and change. So today, join me in first packing a delivery bag as we learn about the flaws within our current political system. Then, let's beg for an epidural as we withstand the pain of public office, before finally pushing out a baby filled with hope for the future. So, what precisely is going wrong in our current political system that continues to fail women? As Leslie Sanchez, a Republican strategist and reporter for CBS News, explains, there's a fine line that women have to navigate between being seen as too emotional and being seen as a good leader. And they often get judged harshly based on how well they walk that line. In recent research conducted by Georgetown University, it is evident that this gender bias is rooted deep in our American history. Expectations of women remain focused on their long-held role as caregivers and nurturers. In fact, in an interview, former California Senator Barbara Boxer shared that when she was door knocking and campaigning, constituents asked her how she could leave her children at home. Around the world, women in politics are criticized for speaking out. Yet, if they stay silent, they're still torn down. It is essential, it is imperative that now more than ever, we learn to speak, even if our voice shakes at first. Furthermore, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, female politicians are 3 times as likely to receive comments containing abusive language, with over 45% of them receiving threats of rape, abduction, beating, and even death. This past summer, in a conversation that I had with Massachusetts State Auditor Diana DeZoglio, I learned that, unfortunately, this statistic falls right at the feet of reality. In her story, Diana shared with me how her and a state representative were caught alone in the House chamber amidst a professional discussion. Both she and her colleague denied that anything inappropriate happened, and an investigation confirmed that. But soon after, rumors flew, false assumptions grew, and her entire reputation was called into question. Her male colleagues began to make increasingly inappropriate comments, sexualizing Diana and coining her with misogynistic names. Eventually, Diana was fired and forced to sign a severance plan and non-disclosure agreement that prevented her from ever speaking about the issue. After 8 years of a successful career at the Massachusetts State House, Diana chose to shatter her silence, break her NDA, and speak, even if her voice shook at first. And she encouraged me and other young women to do the very same. Because oftentimes, women are pushed into a corner where their only choice is to stay silent or leave their position. It is essential, now more than ever, that we learn to speak, even if our voice shakes. So, join me in stepping out of the delivery room. This past summer, taking this piece of advice to heart, I had the honor of representing Massachusetts at Girls Nation in Washington, D.C. A 1-week, all expenses paid trip where I was able to write legislation, visit Capitol Hill, speak to my senators, and even meet Vice President Kamala Harris. A true dream come true. It is essential for every young woman to feel empowered to use her voice for change. Each day, I strive to use my voice for the greater good, whether it be authoring a bill on plastic reduction enzymes at the Massachusetts State House, or being able to publish my very first book on Amazon this past summer. I use my voice to make an impact, remembering that same piece of advice that I learned. My book, Infinite Whispers into My Mind, is a poetry anthology that attempts to empower American authenticity and diversity throughout the country, tracing my experiences as an American Indian growing up in the United States. In my book, I talk about my vulnerabilities and how I grew and changed as a person throughout my childhood and young adulthood. I first began to write this book during personally difficult times, when my mom was battling breast cancer my sophomore year. But I soon learned that my vulnerability can help someone else get through even the darkest of times. It just takes the decision to speak, even if your voice shakes at first. So, I ask you to remember that moment in the delivery room, the sheer blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to bring something new into this world. We've all felt the frustration of pushing against a system that seems as stubborn as a baby that just isn't ready to be born yet. But every time we step into that voting booth, every time we run for public office, and every time we choose to scream our truth loud and proud, we're one step closer to delivering a future we all deserve. A future where women in politics aren't the exception, but the expectation. So, let's keep pushing. Thank you.
Wow, Nirjara, truly amazing.
Thank you.
I have listened to that speech, I think, 5 or 6
Yeah,
times.
for sure.
But I can listen to it another 5 or 6 or even a million
Thank you.
times. So
Thank you
truly
so much.
amazing. I know the stress and of preparing something like that and so forth. Do you mind if we just ask you a few questions
Yes,
on
of
the
course,
speech? Great.
yeah.
So one thing that I do know as a contestant winner, there is some money.
Yeah.
I believe over $2,000.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So let me. What does that mean to you? And I want to basically tell the world how you're going to spend it.
Yes, of course. So I just graduated high school
Yep.
this past year,
Yep.
so I'm part of the class of 2025. So I will be attending college this fall.
Yep.
So I'll be attending the University of Pennsylvania.
Nice.
And I think that this money will be really essential to my college experience and my life. And I think scholarship money is so important because,
Yep.
of course, I love talking about what I'm passionate about, but the incentive to further my education is also great. So I love using this money for that.
Nice. So how did you come up with the idea? I know that the theme had been
Yes.
chosen, but how did you write your speech
Yes.
around that?
So I absolutely love this topic. Topic last year was great too, but I think that this topic allowed for a lot more personal expression. So I've been very involved in various activities in the legislative and political field over the past 3 or 4 years. I've attended Girls State. I was an intern at the Massachusetts State House. So
Yeah.
political representation is something that's extremely important to me. And no matter what party, I think it's really important to
Sure.
have that type of bipartisan collaboration
Yep.
in terms of female representation. So
Yep.
I wanted to really bring that home and kind of talk about something that I was super passionate about and very involved in the last few years.
Well said. Well said. How long does that take somebody to write a speech like that?
I think that for me, writing it, as someone who loves to write, writing it is still one of the hardest parts
Sure.
because you have to condense everything you want to say into just 5 to 8 minutes. And you want a mix of personal anecdotes and research and how the advice has actually impacted you. So I think that writing it was one of the lengthiest processes for me. I would say it took me at least like a few weeks to kind of get everything on
Sure.
paper and kind of get everything that I wanted said and written.
For any student that may be interested in this, did you receive any coaching, mentoring?
Yes.
Please explain.
So I am part of my high school's Walpole High School speech and debate team.
Yes, yep.
And I am very fortunate that my speech coach, Mrs. Emily Murray, brought this contest to my attention. And she was the one who told me about it. And so throughout this, I was able to go to her for any feedback and coaching that I needed. She loved the topic and she thought that it was very important to be discussed in today's society. And she gave me feedback throughout the way, and I'm just so grateful to have such an unwavering mentorship system.
And we appreciate Mrs.
Yes,
Murray's
definitely.
help for sure.
Yes.
What was the hardest part of preparing and what came natural?
I would say that the hardest part was kind of deciding which topic I wanted to specifically discuss because there are so many things that I'm passionate about and involved in, but I just felt like when I was sitting down to write my speech, this is the one that stuck with me. I thought of a few different things. I thought about more general life advice, stuff about the future, stuff about teenagers and how they're entering society, but I think that this is one topic that really stuck out to me. And in terms of like what I think came naturally, I think the public speaking part is something that I definitely enjoy.
Sure.
I love getting to share my ideas and thoughts, and I thought like the delivery part of it was something that I definitely enjoyed.
Well, it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Maybe
Thank
a
you
little
so
bit
much.
harder for men to understand as we don't go through that process, but certainly very
you.
enlightening. And you know, Nirjara, again, we talked about the different levels of competition at the local level and obviously
Yes.
making it to the States, but
Yes.
how was it like at the end, like that last competition? You knew that the competition was only getting better. And like, how did you feel like delivering that same speech that I've seen 5 or 6 times?
Yeah. So I would say that, first of all, at the state competition, I absolutely loved listening to the other contestants'
Yes.
speeches, and we had such a variety of
Oh,
topics.
they were amazing. They were
yeah, we
amazing.
had such a variety of topics, and I think that's what made it like really interesting.
Sure.
But I remember that when I was standing up there on that stage, I just remember looking out and seeing hundreds of people in
Yep.
the audience, and
Yep.
I remember thinking that even if I don't win, it's okay because this is something that I genuinely want to get out there, a message that I care about so much. And
Sure.
being in the same position last year where I was runner-up, I thought that it was such an honor to be able to come back again, and this time on the state stage, and seeing all the Lions and seeing all the club members just supporting me was just so phenomenal.
Well, again, and I believe, again, maybe we should go there, maybe we shouldn't, but Didn't you have a big event going on that same day? You want to explain that one?
Yeah, so actually we had the state MSDL, Massachusetts State Speech and Debate League, state finals on the same day. So
Wow.
when I learned the round before that I was gonna go to the state finals, it was a tough decision between supporting my team and competing at my last ever state tournament for my speech and debate team representing Walpole,
Yeah.
or representing the Walpole Lions at this other opportunity. And to be honest, I was so grateful to have Mrs. Murray's support, because she
Yes.
told me that no matter what decision I made, she would support me and be happy.
was
So
amazing.
I was so grateful to have been able to gone to the statewide Lions speech competition, and things worked out. So
And to maybe fill in a few of the details, I believe, young lady, you started early morning here at the high school.
I did.
Then drove to the state competition where she won it, and then drove back to
Yes.
finish with your classmates.
Especially because our high school was hosting
You're
the
right,
state tournament, so I
right.
needed
Yeah,
to be
this was
there to
this was
help out,
this wasn't
and-
just a competition.
Yeah.
You were also hosting
Exactly.
it, right? Yeah.
So it was so
Yeah.
amazing to be able to drive
Amazing.
to the Cape and then
Yeah.
drive back and then come to the high
Yeah.
school. But yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So let's just, if we can, just
Yes,
a few
of course, yeah.
questions about your speech. You know, I mean, again, the all of the activities and the things that you've accomplished as a high school student. Tell us a little bit about that Massachusetts at the Girls Nation in Washington D.C. Tell us,
Yes,
like,
of course.
how did you get involved? Like,
Yes.
you know.
So Girls State is a program that every state, all the 50 states have, and it essentially teaches young women about advocacy and leadership and civic service. So there's a Girls State program, and then there's a Boys State program. So I was able to go to Girls State and represent Walpole. So Walpole High School, we send 2 girls and 2 boys to
Wow.
Girls and Boys State every year. So it was so amazing to have gone to Girls State. It's at Stonehill College in
Okay.
Easton.
Yep.
And being there, I just realized how important civic service and public service and advocacy was to me. So while I was there, I ran for Secretary of State, and I was able to win, which was another amazing experience.
Wow.
So after, I was selected to represent Massachusetts at Girls Nation. So
Yep.
it's a mock Senate, essentially.
Yep.
So there's 2 people from each state that get to go, and they host us in Washington, D.C. for about 9 days, and it's an amazing experience. I got to meet so many accoladed, accomplished young
Wow.
women that I still stay in touch with
Sure.
to this day.
Truly
So,
amazing.
yeah, an
Truly
amazing
amazing.
experience.
Absolutely. Didn't I hear something about a published book in Amazon? Infinite Whispers into My Mind. What inspired you to write this?
So, great question. I've been writing poetry since I was little. I mean, silly things like rhymes and like stuff like that. And when I got older, I realized that not only did I like writing poetry as just like a hobby or a pastime, but I realized that it was a great way to kind of empower or bring about
Yep.
what kind of change you want to see in the world. So whether it be spoken word poetry or any other type of poetry, I realized that this was a great medium of expression.
Sure.
So I began to compile a collection of all the poems I had written throughout high school about whether it was my own personal experiences or things that we see as Americans happening in our society. And it was just so incredible to be able to compile it into a book. And then because of my mom and what she went through when she was battling breast cancer, I decided to donate all of the proceeds to the Pink Fund because it's a very important cause to me.
On that subject, I had the privilege of meeting Mom
Yes.
and Dad and your brother.
Yes.
But I know in your last year's speech and certainly this year's speech, you do reference your mom. Tell us a little bit about your connection
Yes.
with your mom, because she
Of
seems to
course.
be not that the rest of your family members are not, but Mom seems to be a very special figure in
Yes.
your life.
She definitely is. Me and my mom have always been close for what I can remember. And the funny thing is that we're actually polar opposites. So it's not like we're twins or anything.
That's
but
okay,
We're
yeah.
so different, but we've always still been very close and very connected. And in high school, when I was a sophomore, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was a bit of a difficult time
Sure.
for my family. And
Yeah.
getting through that and coming out on the other side with her being healthy and now everything being okay, it kind of motivated me or empowered me to pursue these types of opportunities, which allows me to talk about how important it is to express yourself and enjoy the moments you have with your family, because you never know what's going to happen.
You don't, certainly. So, God, I mean, you know, I know my mother had experienced the same with breast cancer. So, you know, it is near and dear to all of us out there.
Definitely.
So, God, we're publishing a book. We're going to D.C. You know, we got a lot going on. What other activities do you do here at the high school?
So I would say that Walpole High School obviously is where it all started for me and where I learned what I love. So like I mentioned, I'm part of the speech and debate team and also the mock trial team, which is where my sense of public speaking and those types of interests stem from. And then I also love to keep myself active. I was on the tennis team all 4 years. I played singles, which was very exciting. So I think it's super important to have both sides of having that athletic component, but also having, you know, what you're interested in.
Unbelievable. So now you said you graduated, right? Class of 2025. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's next for you? You know, and what's your future aspirations?
So right now I am going to be attending the University of Pennsylvania in the fall. I'll be studying economics, and as my future plans, I'm still deciding between a few things, whether it be like lawyer or like going into business. Like I'm still between a variety of things, but I'm sure that at Penn I'll be able to explore so many different things and see what I am truly passionate about and what route I want to pursue in the future.
Well, can I just ask here without revealing anything of future race, but are we going to keep our hand in the political arena someday, maybe?
Hopefully, hopefully in the future,
Unbelievable. And how's your summer going? Come on, Nirjara. School is over. Let's talk about how's the summer going.
Yeah, it's going great. Honestly, after college applications and after the stress of everything, I'm just so grateful to be spending time with my friends and family and kind of soaking up these last moments before I pack up my whole life in a couple boxes and move down to Pennsylvania.
That is wonderful. Well, again, we wish you great success.
Thank you.
You will do
Thank
amazing.
You so much.
If we can we switch tracks here and maybe just talk about the Lions Club and the connection. Before entering the contest, have you ever heard of the Lions Club?
So I had heard of it with very minimal knowledge, but after I was made aware of the contest, I started looking into their mission and how they give back to the community, and I was truly touched by all of this. I mean, whether it be our local Walpole Lions Club or the other Lions members that I've met throughout the rounds of competition, I just think it's so phenomenal how many things you do, whether that be through like community service or funding things. It's so essential, and I think it was so nice to be able to see all of these different people involved in the Lions organization.
Certainly, it is I mean, it's, you know, we talk maybe just about the local aspect of it, but we are international. I mean, we cover, you know, around the world. So again, truly amazing and a lot of great people in the organization. But let me ask, what are your thoughts on the Lions now, having gone through this experience? Again, you didn't know us, but like now you get to see us and the people that represent. What's some of your thoughts on the Lions now?
I would say that there's not a lot of organizations out there that have a built-in platform where they hear youth voices, and the Massachusetts Youth Lions Speech Competition does just that. It listens to the young people and it listens to what they have to say, and the Lions are a unique organization in that way that not only do they give back to the community through things that are more traditional, but they also have these unique opportunities that not a lot of other organizations have. I mean, having the youth, whether it be just Walpole youth, Massachusetts youth, or United States, international youth, being able to speak for what they're passionate about, I think it's essential.
Yeah, unfortunately, the youth speech contest is only a Massachusetts-based thing, but maybe again, you know, if the powers to be hears this, maybe you know we'll make it past the state. We also the Lions was able to sponsor two band students to an all-state band competition where they spent 2.5 days in Worcester, Mass, and they basically got a few pieces, a few songs to rehearse. And amazing, and we went out on a Saturday to see them perform, and it was truly amazing. So
sounds amazing.
So it was good. But with that being said, with the you know, youth and speech with you and the band members and so forth. How can other community groups like the Lions be better in supporting students?
I think that just having an outlet where they can express themselves and communicate what they think and what they want for our society is so important because, like I said, there's not a lot of organizations that do this. And for example, with what the Walpole Lions did, sponsoring or donating to the Walpole High School speech and debate team, I mean, even funding or fundraising is so essential for local level activities. And I think that when I was able to represent Walpole at the state level, I've noticed that a lot of other students are now interested in doing the same thing. So I think just having that public presence is so important.
So if a Lion was listening today, what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know that this opportunity is genuinely one of the most integral parts of my life because I have been able to talk about something that I'm passionate about. I've been able to get my message out there. I've been able to come up with kind of a summary of my life experiences and how they've shaped me and what I've done to grow and kind of prosper. And I think that even as I go on to college, something like this will always stick with me. And it's not just the scholarship money or kind of the funds that go along with it. It's more so the platform. I mean, being in that state final, seeing the 200, 300 people out in the audience, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
so.
it was truly amazing. And again, Nirjara, you hit it out of the park.
Thank you.
So let's look ahead. Would you recommend this contest to your peers?
Yes, of course. I mean, there's so many novices that I have mentored on our Walpole speech and debate team where I know that they're already interested in pursuing this contest for the next year. So I know that they will continue the legacy and honestly make Walpole proud. We're so lucky to have such an amazing younger batch.
And we did get to see some of the other contestants from the speech and debate team. But just so we can clarify, you don't have to be part of the speech and debate team, right? Correct?
No. Any young person who fits the criteria is able to enter and kind of participate. We just have a speech team which is so interested, but any Walpole resident that wants
just
to
student,
be sponsored.
right? Yeah, student could do it, right? I would just say maybe just reach out to Mrs. Murray. Would be the best way to do it. Any advice for students thinking about entering next year? I mean, what's your advice now that you're leaving and you're passing the torch to them? What would you say to them?
I think that much like this year's topic, next year's topic, which if you want to share with...
the next year's theme is what can past America teach future America, which is a great subject in itself.
Yeah. I would say that when you're talking about something, don't try to be someone you're not. Genuinely draw from your experiences and who you are to create a speech that embodies you, because that's what public speaking is about. It's about an authentic voice. And I think that if I were to give any piece of advice to the next people who are interested in this competition, it's to stay true to who you are and choose something that you're interested about and that's authentic to you.
One thing that we just want to clarify too that you said was last year you felt it was more personal, although the personal touch, and there was a few contestants that did a personal touch, was right, Nirjara? It was amazing. I mean, my God, you melted when you heard the story, but I think you have to mix that in with life experience. Would that be safe?
Life experience and research. Like if you noticed this year in my speech, I had research done by esteemed organizations, and then my own personal experience. So I think having like that oratorical, like all around type of writing, that's kind of what helps you get to the next level.
So my final question. I'm sure there's a lot of people you would like to thank. So take a minute and thank those people, because I think, again, Nirjara, it was amazing to see you. I have enjoyed your last 2 years. I please hope that you will stay in touch with us. But again, please thank those people you feel necessary.
Of course. I think that this is the most important question out of our whole Q&A session, because genuinely I wouldn't be who I am without these people. I think the first people that I have to thank are my parents, of course. They've sacrificed so much for me and my brother, and of course my brother, who is only 2 years older than me, kind of like my twin in some ways. He's done so much for me, kind of being a mentor, a role model. So my family has played an instrumental part. And then of course I have to thank Mrs. Murray, who I would not be the student and the person I am am today without her. Her mentorship over these last 4 years. I mean, I watched my brother join the Walpole Speech and Debate team, and then I joined it. And I think being able to serve on this team as a leader, and also my relationship with her is so amazing. And I will never have that type of student mentor connection, and I think that she's just so phenomenal, so I want to thank her. And of course, the Walpole Lions Club,
Thank you.
you as the president
Yep.
of the Walpole Lions,
Yep.
thank you so much for sponsoring me, not only this year but the past 2
Yep.
years,
Yep.
and being such an amazing group who always supports me and always hypes me up and always
Yep.
is there to have my back. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We did make a lot of noise for you, didn't we
Yes,
not?
you
Yeah,
did.
at
Yes,
every
you did.
competition. So, listen, this was a very joyful conversation.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming out and sharing.
course.
Again, the Walpole Lions meets every third Wednesday of the month
Mm-hmm.
at Beacon's Restaurant on Route 1. July and August, we are off for summer. But again, we are a great group of local individuals that really treat a local and a national and an international
Mm-hmm.
cause, and we certainly love our youth. So at that, I thank you for your time, and have a great day.